She told me tonight that she cheated back in March. Me, a 28-year-old male, and her, a 27-year-old female, married 4 years ago in May, and have been together for around 4.5 years. No children, 2 pets, and shared ownership of a mortgaged home. Tonight, my wife and I had a discussion that was a follow-up to one we had a few weeks ago, in which I informed her that I'd been battling for along with emotions of not having my needs satisfied. That talk had gone well, and we had decided to go to work on it. Tonight, she claims she'd been thinking about it and that she simply doesn't believe she can offer me what I need. We both vowed when we married that the D word would never be in our vocabulary. We're both Christian and sincerely believed in practicing the God-instructed methods of being married. But she said she believes we both deserve to be happy in this life because we're both young and clearly unhappy now. We'd previously attended an employee assistance program counselor. But I understood that wasn't the in-depth level of marital therapy we clearly now need, and I indicated as much, adding that we should first attempt actual counseling like that to ensure we really feel the way we believe we do. She's been seeing a therapist on her own for issues related to her mother's abandonment and neglect, and I can't remember the details of the conversation because this is where it happened. But she brought up her counseling and said, "Back in March, I was feeling something and I slept with another guy. That night, I told you I was going bowling with a coworker from the next town up from ours, but instead I went to visit him. It was a blunder." She continued with the original topic of the discussion for a while as I buried my face in my hands, attempting to process what I had just heard. It was as though she was oblivious to the fact that she had cheated. "You cheated on me," I said. She agreed. "Did you have with another man?" I asked. She agreed. I inquired who, and she replied it was a gentleman she knew from her hometown. She had been chatting to him for a couple of weeks before making the preparations and going up. When she insisted it was a mistake again, I became enraged. "Do not claim it was a mistake," I yelled. "You lied to me. You were well aware of what you were doing." She was stunned, so I told her, "I won't be here tonight." And I grabbed my keys and went to my closest friends, I call him my brother, place, where I've remained since, riding the waves of emotions that wearhead over me and trying to make sense of it all. She became pregnant in August and miscarried in October. I was so shocked with rage that I instantly feared the kid wasn't mine, but she stated she used a condom and had periods afterwards, and I quickly questioned the fact that she was only 8 weeks pregnant when she miscarried. All of this to say, we've gone through the trauma of it as well. We did, however, celebrate her pregnancy after she had cheated. She lived that lie with me. Please accept my apologies for the lengthy digression. Right now, all I need is some guidance through these early phases of trauma and how to manage my emotions. Edit. I've often wondered what it would be like to create one of these revisions that said, "Wow, this really blew up." But, in fact, it did. It's becoming overwhelming to attempt to respond with everyone's responses. But please know that I'm reading everything and appreciate the heck out of everything. I'm now waiting at the doctor's office for STD testing. Lawyer appointments are scheduled for the remainder of the week. Therapy is arranged for this Friday as soon as possible. When she gets home tonight, she'll learn that I should not have been the one to leave the house last night, and that she may pack her belongings and go for the time being. And it doesn't matter where, it's not my concern right now. Story 2. I found out my husband cheated on me with strippers, and I feel dead inside. I, 31 female, found out 2 weeks ago that my spouse, 30 male, slept with a stripper at a bachelor celebration last year, January 2020. We've been married for over 2.5 years and have been together for 5 years. I'm also 11 weeks pregnant, so it's not the best moment to discover my spouse is a liar and a cheater. We have both said that we would never cheat and that infidelity, whether emotional or physical, is a deal breaker. When we initially met, we connected over our dislike for cheats. My husband has never been cheated on, as far as he is aware, but his father is a serial cheater, and he sees the pain it causes his mother, and he despises his father for it. He has also lost a great deal of respect for his mother for putting up with it all. She refuses to leave him since they have been together since they were 15 years old and are now in their mid-50s. My last 2 relationships had both ended with my partners cheating on me. So after 5 years together and no red signals, I suddenly spotted one 3 weeks ago. I got to know his new receptionist. Pretty, blonde, early 20s, wearing a shirt with a lot of cleavage. Despite what some say, it's unacceptable to wear exposing clothing to work, particularly because all 5 males who work there are either married or engaged. Her outfit wasn't a red sign, but her demeanor toward me was. She was chilly and unpleasant, and I saw her staring at us numerous times while I was there. My presence appeared to irritate her. It was my first visit to him at work since she started in November. He and his closest buddy operate a modest company. When I informed my husband that she was definitely pining on him, he chuckled and said he believed she was crushing on his business colleague. His companion was not there, so I did not see her with him. So the following day when he was asleep, I decided to look through his phone. We have an open phone policy and know each other's passcodes. I seldom check through his phone, but when I do, I never find anything. I also have nothing to conceal, therefore I have no objections to his checking through my phone. I identified her in his contacts, and their history only included 2 text exchanges. Both are from her. They were from December and said that she would be late for work. There is nothing incorrect. He is not on social media. There are no inappropriate photographs. There was no porn in his Safari record. His group conversation with his buddies and brother, on the other hand, was a whole other tale. I was aware of their group chat, but whenever I used his phone in the past, I avoided going through it. Years ago, my brother informed me that group chats with the lads are generally packed with porn, boasting about all the women they cheat on their relationships with, and objectifying women, and I didn't want to see that, so I hoped my husband and his pals were different. They aren't, to be sure. What I saw made me nauseous, and I really vomited. My husband did cheat on me last year, but not with his employee, but with strippers at a bachelor celebration. According to the messages, he was inebriated when he had with one of the strippers and received a from the other. Not only did he cheat on me, but the majority of his pals, who are either married, engaged, or in serious relationships, also cheated that night and are either serial cheaters or eager for with other women. They have a major issue with porn and lusting for women who are not their spouses. That night, the groom also had with 2 strippers. The bachelor party was held in a strip club, and afterwards everyone went to the sole single man in the group's home, where they met the 2 dancers. I had no idea they went to a strip joint. My husband has said that he does not like going to strip clubs, and he is aware that I am not comfortable with his going to them. Strippers were not acceptable to the guy's fiancée, now wife. They said that they were simply enjoying a lad's night in. So they've been deceiving us for the last year. He's gone to 2 other bachelor parties since we began dating, so I'm not sure whether they went to strip clubs during them as well. When it comes to his receptionist, he thinks she's attractive, but he's never slept with her. She is, in reality, having an affair with his married business colleague, whose wife is expecting their first kid. In the message, they joked about having and his buddy boasted about how wonderful he is but refused to share her. They all talk about how much they had with women who aren't their husbands or partners. Porn, photographs from OnlyFans, Instagram profiles of females, comparing ladies' attractiveness, talking about all the things they want to do with these girls, jokes, and so on dominate the discourse. It's almost entirely related. They speak like a group of 15-year-old adolescent boys, not 28, 33-year-old guys in ostensibly committed partnerships. One of the men is getting married in May, and they intend on hiring additional strippers, as well as banging them. What the heck is going on? In the chat, one of the men shared a photo of my husband and me with the message, "Show me a beautiful lady, and I'll show you a man who's weary of her." They all appeared to think it amusing. "Haha, I'm not bored yet," my spouse said. What person did I marry? Who are these individuals? Why are the majority of males such jerks? His buddies and brother were always courteous and polite to me, and they appeared happy and in love with their spouses and girlfriends, but it was all an act. I grabbed a lot of screenshots, so I do intend to inform their partners, but I am dreading it. So there's a little background. I was unmarried for about 6 years before meeting my spouse, as in, entirely alone. Except for one weekend affair and one ONS, I was celibate and didn't date at all. I enjoyed being single and not having to worry about getting dumped. I felt lonely at times and missed, but for the most part, I was really happy. Casual is not for me. Since I despise culture, I've always been an introvert and a homebody, so staying at home and not going out was completely okay with me. I didn't want to go through it again after my prior relationships cheated on me. I was certain that most guys would cheat if given the chance. Every man I knew was either cheating or planning to cheat, but was frightened of being discovered. Which isn't a good enough excuse for me to refrain from cheating. My father's wife cheated on him after they had been married for 7 years, so he cheated on her in return. They're still together, but they're unhappy. My brother and his pals were cheating on their partners, and some of them would attempt to cheat on me. A number of married guys expressed an interest in sleeping with me. So it all just made me miserable and made me think extremely negatively about males. I used to like the attention I received from guys, even married males, when I was a teenager. I didn't really promote it, but I enjoyed it nevertheless. Then my ex cheated on me, and I began to despise the attention I received from married or in relationships guys, so instead of making me feel confident and attractive, it made me feel like garbage. I am a big believer in leaving a cheater, so that is what I intend to do, but I am really unhappy, furious, and surprised. I don't feel there are any acceptable reasons to cheat, but if we weren't getting along or weren't having, it may make sense. But we get along, we're best friends, or so I thought. We have a fantastic life, and we have almost every day. As a result, it just does not make sense. I still adore him, but when I read those messages, it was as if a lot of my feelings for him vanished. I thought we were happy, and he's been overjoyed since finding out I'm pregnant. Lockdown and quarantine had been quite beneficial to us. So I'm still trying to get my brain around his infidelity, and the way he said in the group chat is giving me nightmares. I have not yet challenged him. I went to my mother's house a few days after seeing the messages. It was a journey that had been planned. Those 2 days of being around him after I found out were quite difficult. I was nauseous and irritated just looking at him. He wanted to have, but I had to say no since I wasn't in the mood, which is unusual for me because I am normally in the mood. Years of not having has made me continuously need it, which he is aware of and enjoys. I blamed it on my morning sickness, which I'm still using as an excuse. I was only meant to stay with my mother for 3 days, but I've been here for 2 weeks. My spouse is irritated that I am still here, so he will arrive tomorrow. I told him not to and that I'd be back in a week, but he's not listening and will be here in 6 hours. It's something I'm dreading. My mother lives 2 hours away. We've chatted every day since I left, but I keep things brief. He asks what's wrong, and I simply tell him I'm feeling queasy. I haven't informed my mother. What I discovered. My closest buddy, who lives in Florida, I'm in Canada, is the only person I've told. She is the one who informed me about this sub. A little part of me doesn't want to face him and prefers to pretend it never occurred. But I'm ashamed of myself for feeling that way. I'm also ashamed about my family finding out, since only last year my brother told me that all males cheat, and the ones who don't just don't because they don't have the chance or are afraid of being caught. I mainly agree, but I also believe that there are some decent, genuine, loyal guys who don't cheat because they don't want to. They adore their wives/girlfriends and do not wish to be with other women. That's what I meant when I said my spouse was that kind of person. What I was. I know it's childish, but I wish I could simply ghost him, like take all my belongings out of our apartment and never speak to him again. Obviously, I am not capable of doing so, but a large part of me wants I could. I can't stop seeing him having with someone else. It's taking up my mind. Since I've been here, I've only left my mother's apartment once. I'm not motivated to accomplish anything. I've simply been resting and reading a lot. I can't even be pleased that I'm pregnant. My mother is overjoyed, and I must seem to be as well. I absolutely want to be a mother, yet knowing what I know, I can't quit worrying about the future. My spouse will be a wonderful father, but I wanted my kid to grow up in a loving environment with both parents. But I can't continue to be with him. Because of the children, I've always been opposed to sticking with a cheater. I despise the thought of having to watch him move on, date, and finally marry someone else. I simply know I'll be single for the rest of my life, which makes me sad. Please accept my apologies for the length of this post. I just wanted to vent.